Want to get this going while they do the lineups? And welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to match number 2 here at the 2023 Men's NORCECA Continental Championship from Charleston, West Virginia. My name is Everett DeLorme, joined as always by Mr. Rob St. Clair. And Rob, one match down here for this event, and number 2 coming up right here between Cuba and Puerto Rico.
The Battle of the Flags, as I like to call it.
The Battle of the Flags.
Battle of the Flags. These two teams, essentially the exact same flag, just with the red and blue switched. And this, I think this one could be a little interesting. I expect it to be more interesting than the beatdown that Canada just laid on the Dominican Republic before this, a really quick 3-0. Cuba is a very, very interesting story. Brand new head coach for the first time this event. Jesus Cruz Lopez replaces Nicolas Vives. How is that going to go for Cuba as they try to qualify for the Olympics next year? And Puerto Rico, as they're being announced right now, a very young group, very different from the team that participated at last year's World Championship, including Clisten Lawrence, a superstar opposite prospect playing on the outside, and captain Omar Hoyos, currently playing in the NCAA and for nearby George Mason in Virginia, 21-year-old captain for Puerto Rico. That kind of tells you the squad that they brought this week.
Yeah, and I mean, I feel like at a certain point, this Puerto Rican program needed some type of refresh. Right, and we'd seen the same guys in the program over the past decade, and unfortunately, that hasn't culminated much for them. So I think it's a kind of a good idea, actually, for Puerto Rico to wrap things up and, you know, get started with a new generation of talent, really centered around Clisten Lawrence.
And as we just saw our very good friend John Speraw, friend of the channel, walk right in front of us, who coaches in the NCAA. We did see Clisten Lawrence briefly in the NCAA. We see Omar Hoyos in the NCAA. Decent amount of Caribbean, North Central American talent that comes to the United States here to play university. Hoyos, a pretty close one in nearby Virginia. But we have Cuba in red on the far side getting ready to serve. Puerto Rico in blue on red on the near side receiving. It is Miguel Lopez, number 18 in red, to get us underway. One of the great fireball arms in the world, and Puerto Rico is off the hook quickly as Lopez puts Puerto Rico on the board with a service error.
I really want to see Lopez just go off. It feels like there's been a few events now where I've been waiting for him to just go off. Pan Am last year, VNL this year. I really want to see one of those big serves from him.
Here is Clisten Lawrence, a very highly rated prospect. Oh, wow, what a start for Puerto Rico. That is a massive move by Antonio Elias, number 18 in blue in the middle, to shut down Marlon Yant, one of the scariest outside hitters in the world. That is a very nice start for Puerto Rico.
Interesting that they went with the Lopez and Yant starting starters. Generally, Cuba starts with Lopez and Melgarejo.
Captain Osniel Melgarejo starts the match on the bench for Cuba. Here is Lawrence again, 2-point lead. Pretty good transition chance here for Puerto Rico. Setter Kevin Rodriguez feeds it quickly to the middle, and another point for Antonio Elias, number 18 in blue, pounded to the floor on the 30 run. What a start for Puerto Rico.
Really like their, I mean, it's early, but I like their energy. I like how they're coming up and they're not shying away. Good run in transition there.
Kevin Rodriguez, number 6 at the setter position, 5'11" on the roster, and that might be generous.
That's generous.
That ball is hit out of bounds by Romeo Alonso, wide of the sideline. He's asking for a touch, and I don't think he's going to get it. And that's an interesting thing, Everett. We're going to say at every match of this tournament, no challenges. You got 4 line judges, an up and a down official, no challenges. The call on the floor is the call that is, and a quick timeout for brand new head coach Jesus Cruz Lopez, down 4-0 for Cuba in the first set.
I'm not exactly surprised that Cuba has come out lackluster like this. You know, this is one of those teams that has the ability to just turn it on. And
they also have the ability to turn it off.
I don't know if they have the ability to turn it off, but let's just say that they're naturally in the off position unless that there's something scary in front of them. You know, that's why when you look at their one big win in the VNL, it was a massive 5-setter against Brazil in week 1 in Ottawa. That we got.
We
to
were
see.
there. That was electric.
And then the rest of the Cuba that we saw, the rest of the VNL was, you know, half of that. So, you know, this is, if you're a Cuban fan, you've come to expect this. It explains some of Ronnie's insanity.
Like our very good friend Ronnie Cuban Spike, who is in the chat right now, seeing his team in a 4-0 hole to Clistan Lawrence, who continues to serve for Puerto Rico here out of the timeout. And a coach's point for brand new coach Jesus Cruz Lopez.
Right in the pocket there.
Happens. And it is very good, Everett, to see this man back. Romy Alonso, number 17 in red. Did not play VNL for Cuba this summer. Here he is back in the middle blocker position before heading back to the Italian League. One of the world's most underrated middle blockers.
You know, in the past, he's also been the captain of this team, and he brings such a fiery and also calming energy to this roster that they sometimes miss. But Lopez with an absolute beautiful dig there.
Another chance for Rodriguez here to set the Puerto Rican offense off. A free ball chance. Where does he go? Elias in the middle gets away with it. That is 3. Dude, the ball's coming out of Kevin Rodriguez's hands.
Really nice.
Quick.
Yeah.
Coming out really nice in Puerto Rico with a very nice start. 5-1. We've got Antonio Elias, the middle blocker, back to serve. That brings Januar Figueroa, number 21 in blue, into the front court. Haven't seen Jesus Herrera take a swing yet, number 12 in red on the right side for Cuba. The lefty will have his presence felt before long. Pretty good pass from Lopez. There is Herrera right on cue. Nice dig by Lawrence. Hoyos recycles.
Great recycle.
Ellis is blocked and covered. Ellis again, deep cross court on the right side, and he misses the sideline.
He was in a tough position. He had just landed, didn't get much of an approach. Ball was kind of behind him. Maybe could have done better to go to the deep corner, but still a tough one. But so far, real impressed by Rodriguez. He's very undersized. Like, I can't understate how undersized he actually is. But he's fast, and his hands are butter.
See what happens when he gets to the front court. That's another recycle from Hoyos. Tricky situation. Cuba's going to get a free ball. Herrera one-on-one. Not a perfect set. Has to tip it over. Hoyos swinging for the fences. That ball is on its way to George Mason, where he comes from. He did not get the block touch on its way out of bounds. Puerto Rico's starting lineup, by the way, very notably Jamal Ellis, number 16 in blue, 19 years of age, gets the start at opposite. Ooh. And that is an ace serve. Jesus Herrera cuts it short, and Clistan Lawrence gives up an ace. And it's important to point this out. Lawrence is an opposite. Like, I don't know. I have not seen him play outside hitter before in his brief time at Long Beach State or this professional season in Italy, but this man is an opposite. He's in the passing pattern. That is a target for every Cuban server.
But the reality is that long term, Clistan Lawrence needs to be an outside.
Maybe.
Right? Like, he's not tall enough, nor does he jump well enough to be an opposite internationally. He does not continue to have a career like in Italy or in any top league. To be honest, like, I wouldn't even put him in like France or Germany if
he doesn't make the position switch.
If he doesn't make the position switch.
Here he is. Nice block there from Figueroa, the new middle blocker, against Lopez, who is out of the back row. Now we see Kevin Rodriguez, the very short setter, in the front court for Puerto Rico. See if Thondike sets straight over the top of it. Oh. No, a missed connection. Swing and a miss for Javier Concepcion. That set was not where Concepcion was expecting it.
And that's where, you know, this is where, in times like these, this might be, so people may not know, but there's a secret assistant coach for Cuba this week in the form of Charleston men's head coach Luke Reynolds, who's coached internationally with Australia. He's coached for Berlin and for JW as well. Highly regarded coach, coaching now in the NCAA here. So he's actually on the Cuban coaching roster, and he's going to be helping them with video and a number of other things throughout this tournament. I mean, he was out there serving balls at the libero and warm-up wearing a Cuba shirt.
Really good sign for the Cuban program to bring in outside talent like that, and a volleyball IQ of Reynolds' caliber. Makes me think the Federation's taking a turn in the right direction with this new coaching change, as Marlon Yant misses that serve out of bounds. And another thing we always talk about with the setter position, or sorry, with Cuba, is the setter position. Christian Thondike, number 6 in red, gets the start here. No Tabawada, he is on the bench. Already seen a couple missed connections. So how well can Thondike deliver the ball in good positions to Cuba's elite wing attackers?
Oh.
Look at that commit block, but it is through onto the Puerto Rican side. That is a kill for Javier Concepcion. That had highlight reel potential.
It did. I thought Figueroa got him on that one.
I thought he did too.
But just this the angle that we're from behind here.
Best angle to watch volleyball, by the way.
Good run there, back to Figueroa, but that's easily eaten up by Yant. Ooh,
and Herrera.
The late block there by Figueroa, he's there. He's getting his feet there, but he's just a little bit late on that one. And if he's there in position, that one's going
Stuff
straight
block.
down.
Yep.
Absolutely, which is, I want to see better from Herrera, especially a guy like Herrera. I want to see him high and hard.
We love Herrera on this channel.
We're not entirely sure if he likes us.
I think
me specifically.
I think he loves us. We had a great interaction with him in Ottawa. Everett and Herrera were talking trash to each other during Cuba's first game. And we've got a scorer's table issue. A little break here as Concepcion waits to serve again.
More scorer's tables issues, of course.
Happens. First day of an international tournament.
So we'll see how it goes. It looks like it's going to be wrapping up here. Scott Dasiewicz out of Montreal, Canada, on the stand as the head referee for this one. I hope I pronounced this.
Easy pass there from Hoyos. Wow, Lawrence is stuffed straight down. Good block move there by Thondike.
Yeah.
And Cuba is tied up at 8 apiece. That is one thing that you can get out of most Cuban setters is physicality. Thondike with a good right hand there. He's also left-handed. He can turn and throw some balls down or take swings on the second contact. Tie game here, Cuba, after digging an early hole. Lawrence again against 2 blockers and a massive shutdown move by Romeo Alonso.
Making his presence felt early. That was a great move by him.
Beautiful.
Closed that block perfectly in rhythm with Thondike. Good active hands. That was textbook.
I called Romeo Alonso one of the most underrated middle blockers on the planet. I will stand by that. There is Ellis out of the back row. Nice swing by the 19-year-old. Wrist away off the fingertips of the block of Lopez. Targeting the smaller blocker and getting the block out. Nice swing.
Alice, Puerto Rico doing a pretty good job so far. And what I like the most about it is that they're doing a good job and Lawrence has no points yet. Because you know he's going to get his points at some point. So if the other guys can chip in where they can, gain some confidence, that really is best for them. And that's what I want to see. That's what we're here for, Rob. Whew.
That's the Miguel Lopez we've been waiting to see. That this man, number 18 in red, at outside hitter, one of the great arms in the world.
I rate it as the best arm in the world.
It might be.
I don't know anyone who's better.
He burst onto the scene at the 2019 NORCECA Championship, which was featured heavily on this very YouTube channel, but he was playing opposite. Nobody knew who he was. He was just destroying balls on the right side as Ellis hits that ball out of bounds. But then we saw Lopez switch to his more natural outside hitter position. He went to Sada Cruzeiro in Brazil. He was the Club World Championship MVP. And since then, for the national team, it just hasn't quite been there.
Well, he actually moved to the opposite because Herrera was injured at the time.
Right.
And Herrera was actually there present at the 2020 Olympic qualifiers up in Vancouver, where Canada pulled off the epic reverse sweep to qualify for Tokyo. Herrera was there, but he was always on the bench with the band. He got in a few times, but they mostly had Lopez on the right side. One thing to remember, though, Rob, going back to that 2019 championship, that was back when NORCECA was using the molten ball, which is a slightly heavier ball. It uses 16 panels instead of 18, and it's a much better grip. It's a good ball for big, heavy swingers. Yeah. You can serve it hard, and you can swing it hard, whereas the Mikasa, you need a little bit more touch. That was when Cuba was at their prime, when they could just pin that molten ball. They were really, really hard to stop. And since then, they haven't had as much success using the Mikasa.
Mikasa, the superior ball, in my opinion, as we see Lawrence on the right side there. Rotation 1 gets shut straight down. And after an early, a 4-0 hole for Cuba early, they've responded very nicely. They have flipped the switch, as you talked about they can do. They lead 13-10, timeout Puerto Rico in the first set.
And they didn't even really do that much to
Not
flip
really.
the switch. Right, they're not anywhere close to playing their 100% ball at the moment. but they're doing more than 40%, which is, I think, that's what they were given before.
Cuba will participate in the Olympic qualification tournaments later on at the very end of September into early October. They have a very difficult pool. They will go down to Brazil to take on Brazil, Italy, Iran, Ukraine, Germany, the Czech Republic, and Qatar. Difficult draw for Cuba as they try to qualify for their first Olympics in a while. I don't even know when their last one was.
Other than Qatar, that's a tough pool.
Hard pool.
Hard pool.
Very hard pool top to bottom.
Czech Republic is very underrated. Germany is solid. Ukraine, they have some of the best talent in the world sometimes, right? And then Iran, Brazil, and Italy, I mean, those ones are always going to be tough as well. So, but Cuba is one of those dark horse teams that if you told me that Cuba ran the table and won the pool, I wouldn't surprise. If you told me that they finished second last, I wouldn't be surprised either.
Cuba, that sort of wild card team who can beat anybody but also lose to anybody. Extremely talented, but they've had a lot of difficulty getting back to the elite level now that they're able to retain their homegrown talent, which is great news.
Amazing news, yeah. When you look at look at Turkey, who just won the women's side, and Melissa Vargas, like if you put her with the Cuban women who were in Quebec last week, how different does that team look? And what a move by Elias there, and he has been the star so far early in this match.
Another
Rob, 4 points already.
Move. Antonio Elias, number 18 in blue, only 22 years of age, with a couple highlight reel stuff blocks on some of the very best attackers in the world. And Lawrence doing a pretty good job serving. Down by 1 here for Puerto Rico.
Starting to bring the heat a little bit more. I like it.
Nice touch. Very good touch. Rodriguez with a chance in transition. Ellis gets the favor returned. Big block there by Yance with Alonso closing at the last minute.
He started his approach really early. And they're running it fast, but not overly fast. His approach is pretty slow. If he was a little bit quicker there, he would have seen that he had acres and acres down the line.
He did.
Whereas he thrown that one right into the box. The ball was a little bit behind him, and I think that's mostly due to his own footwork as opposed to the set coming off Rodriguez.
Good float service pressure here from Alonso. Great chance in transition for Cuba.
Set.
Herrera on an underset ball is slowed down. This will be Hoyos. Quick ball on the outside, and he puts it away cross court. That ball touched Marlon Yant on its way out of bounds. Important side out there for Puerto Rico.
It was really that was a really good soft block there by Hoyos.
Very good touch. Very good.
I thought for a second that was a great set by Herrera. It looked like he had miles of room, and Hoyos got up underneath. And that's one of the things that I think both Mexico and Puerto Rico are always very good at. And they play in this region where they're traditionally going to have 3 teams who are much bigger and much more physical than they are. But if you watch the hand speed of the Mexican and Puerto Rican blockers, they pick up so much stuff behind them. Because rather than trying to go across, they know they're getting late, and they're really good at reaching back and slowing that down. And Hoyos was a perfect example of that there on that play.
Well said. I think there's a little bit of a movement going on internationally towards some more dynamic and more technical wing blocker moves, especially when solo. Spreading and being narrow, showing and taking away, like dropping and taking things, and it's fun to watch. Is that a lucky ace?
That was.
Oh my goodness.
You know a player's feeling it when he gets the roll along the net, falls in. He's done it all tonight. He's got kills, he's got blocks, now he's on the ace.
Lucky serve there from the 19-year-old Ellis. Can you put one in play more conventionally here? 15-15 tie. Good match so far.
He has an interesting swing. I like it, though.
Beautiful. Speaking of interesting swings, you don't see very many middle blockers in the world with as much of that windmill windup as Javier Concepcion.
And at the same time, he does get a bigger set for it, but he's so effective with it. He can and with the more time, he's not running like a typical 1 set. I would give it more of a 2.
Like a 1.5.
Yeah, 1.5, 2. But he has that ability to kind of go with his body to 5 or cut it back to 1.
Big block there. Thondike shuts down Hoyos as part of a 3-man block, and Cuba separates by 2.
We'll see what Yant can bring now from the baseline.
Been working on Albaladejo, the Puerto Rican libero, number 20 in white. Ellis out of the back row, inside the block of Lopez down the line. That ball is crushed. Very nice high-level swing there from the 19-year-old.
Ellis already with 3 points on the night. Or maybe it's just 2.
So there's Ellis the opposite and Elias the middle.
Yeah, I keep
try not to get them confused.
I definitely keep on mixing them up.
Here is Hoyos, the captain, still in university here in the United States. Nice touch. Look at that. Rodriguez, the setter, blocking on the left against Herrera, and he slowed him down once, but can't slow him down a second time. We've seen teams do this a little bit, where if they have a smaller or less dynamic blocking setter, they'll move him to wherever they perceive the opponent attack to be the weakest. A lot of tough choices in terms of that matchup against Cuba.
I'm not sure Herrera is the guy you want to go for.
I don't think so.
Because you've got Lopez on the left side who doesn't hit as high.
Between a rock and a hard place, though,
yeah,
for sure. Nice turn there by Figueroa.
Are. But you know what? Puerto Rico's keeping this one interesting. They're right there along with Cuba here.
I think we picked Cuba 3-1 in the pregame show, I believe. Definitely, we thought it would be competitive, and it is so far, 17-18. Here is Figueroa in the rec specs. Nice touch there by Lawrence, blocking on the right side. And here he'll take a right side front court swing, but he is shut down by the left hand of Lopez. Now this is the thing, when you put your setter over there blocking on the left, it kind of scrambles what you can do in transition, and Cuba all over that high ball set to Lawrence that time.
Yeah, that's a little bit tough, and I understand that Lawrence wants to take those swings on the right, but long term, it's just better for him just to play traditional, start hitting those out-of-system balls on the left.
Ooh. Nice read there by Alonso, shuts down the pipe attack from Hoyos.
And that was another tough one. You know, we were just talking about him, but it seems like Lawrence almost wants to be too much. Like he was jumping at the same pace as the middle there. Instead, should have maybe been a little bit patient, come back and got the cover on that one. So we're seeing that transition right now from Lawrence from playing on the right to on the left. My wonder is, has he been training on the left with Milano? Is this something that Milano has been working on as well and has been a feature in his pro career?
Very good question.
Yeah, because that's what, like, you know, with Arthur Schwartz of Canada, me making that move to the right side, that's something we saw originally with Cisterna a couple years ago, and he's kind of morphed to only being an opposite player, because you're going to make more money as an opposite, of course, than a middle, no doubt about it.
However, for the national team, they don't care what you do in club. They're going to put you in the position that best suits your progression for the national team only, and I'm curious to follow Clifton Lawrence positional development from that perspective.
But especially like with the play of Ellis right now, I like his play. You know, from
19.
the small snippet we've seen, he's only 19 years old. He's got a lot of room to grow as Thorndike gets this one going again.
Targeting Lawrence in reception. He's hanging in there pretty well, and that ball hit out of bounds by Ellis, looking for the touch down the line. That was not even close.
I'm not entirely sure why he's upset about that one.
That is not even close.
And Hoyos he's got to back up his guy. I get it, but that was far out.
No challenges this week at the NORCECA Championship, but that one begging for a touch was more like a prayer than a legitimate request. 21-17 Cuba, repeat set there. Easy dig from Yant. Yant available in transition and through the block of Lawrence, and down he goes out of the back row. 22-17 Cuba, looking like they will be able to push towards the finish line here in the first.
Nice and active there on that first one, but in the block there by Clifton Lawrence, but Herrera's still able to, or Yant still able to sneak it through.
Lawrence hangs. He's slowed down by Herrera, who chases this one down. Ooh, hittable ball for Yant. I like him taking a swing at that out of the back row.
Yeah.
Why not?
Just try to go a little short with it.
But now Puerto Rico, this is very important for their comeback chances. The setter, Kevin Rodriguez, back to the service line. Much better blocking chances now coming up. And they blocked the ball really well early in these couple rotations. Rotation one receive here for Cuba. Herrera on the left, Lopez on the right. Rodriguez keeps it in play. Not a good set to Alonso in the middle. This gotta have this. And he does.
There we go.
What a blast down the line by Clifton Lawrence.
And that's his first kill here of the match.
Is it really?
Yeah, first point.
Wow.
Yeah, he's not on this yet. No, he's down here. That is his first point of the match for Clifton Lawrence, and it comes at a massive time as they're looking to come back here.
Good set there by Rodriguez. He continues to serve, putting it on Lopez. who's passing and hitting on the right. And he goes through the block and down this time. A kill for Cuba. That is all speed.
Yeah, his arm is so fast there that he's able to cut that ball off a little bit early, hit Elias as he's trying to close that block.
Now Lopez goes back to serve. Got serious fireball potential. Could this be just long of the baseline?
You know, that's where you want to see your big gun really finish it off. Just kind of go back.
This right here has been Puerto Rico's best opportunity to score points on their serve. 2 good rotations previously from Clifton Lawrence from the baseline. Needs it right here. Who does he go after? Serve right on cue. Shanked by Lopez. It's a 2-point game.
That was, we could see the tail on that really, really well. And that was a beautiful cut. I'm not entirely surprised that Lopez couldn't handle that.
That was a nasty serve.
It went from his left shoulder to his right shoulder real quick.
That is an international caliber serve, no question about it. When you look at it from the baseline, like this camera angle, you can really see how far that moves from right to left on the camera, left to right if you're Lopez trying to pass that ball. And sure enough, Lawrence putting in work on service. 21-23, timeout Cuba to see if they can organize 2 side outs and take this first set.
Yeah. And this is what we saw so much of from Clifton Lawrence last year at the Pan Am Cup, where he really exploded onto the international scene and was really putting up some good numbers for Puerto Rico. Now, I don't think he's not coming in as a rookie anymore, and people are aware of him. He's playing in Italy and all of these things. But realistically, for me, it's how right now he's the best talent they've got, and how far can he take them? But I'm really liking the other pieces where I'm seeing around him for this Puerto Rico team.
Me too. Pivotal point right here. Clifton Lawrence serving 21-23. Must side out here for Cuba. And an effective timeout. Lawrence tries to chop it short.
That's one of the parts of his game that he clearly needs to work on.
Yeah, that is a mental mistake.
If you want to be the best, you need to go back there and serve
a bomb right there.
A bomb, but at least an 80% serve. Yeah. Got to put it in.
That is a mental mistake, and it brings up set point Cuba. Romeo Alonso, the middle blocker, at 24-21. Ooh, hybrid there off the tape. Hoyos is underneath it. And the scrambling Puerto Rico, unable to send that ball over and inbounds, and that will do it. 25-21. Cuba takes the first set. They escape a late comeback effort from Puerto Rico, and Cuba is on the board.
I think right there you're starting to see the immaturity of Ellis on the right side, because he's starting his approach so early, and like even as Rodriguez is setting that ball, he's starting to take his steps in his approach, and he's forced to kind of just chop it over as it's behind him. He's a physical guy. He just needs to slow it down a little bit, and he'll be able to get there.
So streaky volleyball from both teams in that first set. Puerto Rico had a great start with some beautiful blocking early. Cuba turned on the service pressure. They turned on the transition attacking. A couple mistakes from both teams. Pretty back and forth. This is going to be a pretty good match. I expect this to be definitely more competitive than the match we saw earlier.
I mean, already it is.
Already
it's way closer than what we saw earlier from the Dominican Republic.
Statistics so far, Cuba actually leads in blocks with 7. 7 blocks in the first set is more than I expected. It was the early ones from Puerto Rico. 12 attacking errors from Puerto Rico. That seems like a lot to me.
Doesn't surprise me.
I mean, yeah, blocked 7 times, maybe 5 unforced errors. I suppose I could see it. 5 service errors from Cuba, only 3 from Puerto Rico compared to 2 aces, so slightly better on the Puerto Rican side service-wise.
Yeah, I mean, that doesn't surprise me. Mostly just lazy serving on the side of Cuba.
Something that they can turn on if they get in a bit of a rhythm.
I mean, hey, when you look at this roster, and I mean, we are omitting one big piece of this Cuban team, of course, with no Robert Landy Simon. And if he was here, and to be perfectly honest, he's nowhere near as effective for Cuba as he is professionally.
That's true.
Right? The setters can't get him the ball. They don't pass enough well.
He's really just a blocker and a server, and still he's one of the most impactful players in the world.
But he's so impactful in other areas.
Right.
He's essentially the coach. When he's here, he runs this team.
Right.
And I think that's really what we've seen throughout the course of this VNL, is that he hasn't been anywhere around, and this team has lacked leadership, right? Yant's not a loud guy. Lopez isn't a loud guy. Herrera's loud, maybe in the wrong ways, right? So you really don't have that consummate professional to be like, hey, we need to get the job done. Because even though some of these guys are some of the biggest names in European and professional volleyball, they're still quite young,
It's
right?
true.
They're still quite young. So this is still a young Cuban team, and I mean,
Yonder Garcia, Cuba's libero at 30, the oldest player on the roster.
yeah, I mean, I don't remember a Cuban team without him, to be perfectly honest. But with Cuba now keeping their players, I mean, hell, Puerto Rico is now the new team to pilfer from if you're the United States of America anyways. But with Cuba now keeping their players and this solid core that they have here, you have to really be excited about what's going to be potentially coming out of this program over the next 5-10 years.
And now with a new coach, Jesus Cruz Lopez, we really can't overstate how significant that is, how much of an upgrade that is, and how their federation really has an opportunity to turn a corner here in the next year or two. Is Olympic qualification for this Cuban team this summer in the cards? I would say maybe not, but with this, every one of these guys that's on the court right now will be around in the picture for LA 2028, and if they can really put a good program together on and off the court, this team will be scary.
Yep, absolutely. Like, the talent is there.
Totally.
There's no doubt that the talent is there. But, and you know what? Looking across the net too, I'm excited about what I've seen from this very young Puerto Rican team. And right now, like, a region like NORCECA is at its best when its teams are
Right.
the best, and we've seen some really good stuff from that young Mexican squad. They don't have all their guys here for this tournament. We talked about it in a little bit in our preview show. That's a shame, but I really like what we're seeing from the young guys here for Puerto Rico. Whereas I don't like that Mexican brought a younger team, because there are other guys who are doing good things for them are young as well. Whereas I really like this move from Puerto Rico.
So we are just about ready to get going here with set number 2. Puerto Rico serving in blue on the far side with setter Kevin Rodriguez. And here's Cuba starting and receiving in rotation 1. This bit the Dominican Republic badly earlier. We'll see what Cuba can do with it. And that will work. Fed quickly to Romeo Alonso in the middle, who puts it down with the paintbrush, and Cuba's on the board.
I like that Thorndike went right to Alonso. Good pass, good delivery. I want him to see him build some confidence, especially because he's getting a little hammered in the comments right now.
Oh, that was nasty. What a chop by Miguel
beautiful.
Lopez. Everett gives him the round of applause. That was sweet.
I want at some point this week to have some interaction with the athletes as they come back, and like they point to us or something. Maybe the Americans or one of the Canadians.
Another good serve. Overpass is destroyed by Herrera.
You can see that one on Instagram later. I just filmed that one.
Everett's got his phone out. And here is a real confidence-building chance and momentum-building chance for Lopez from the service line. An ace, an overpass forced, and now here he goes. This will be a fireball right here. No, sort of another off-speed one. And that ball is hit out of bounds in the middle by Elias. No touch.
No touch there. And Elias, that was a confident swing. Just not a great execution. Really trying. I want to see him challenge the block of Alonso.
I think he was a little too far away from his setter and had that wrist away shot go out of bounds. 4-0 start from Cuba. We saw the same start from Puerto Rico in the last set. Repeat set, and that is off the fingertips of Garcia, I believe. Yes.
Much better swing there by Elias. And that, you know what, like, Alonso is more physical than him. There's no doubt. He's way more experienced than him. So he definitely needs to go in there and make smart shots, right? Don't get too boastful and make the smart decision, as Lawrence takes a good chuck out of it back from the baseline there.
Ooh, that ball is recycled momentarily, but that'll be 4 contacts against Cuba.
Just a little bit ugly there on the Cuban side of things.
Again, Cliston Lawrence's service rotation being the most productive in point scoring for Puerto Rico. And here he is to go again. Herrera is stuffed straight down. Elias again.
That was a great move by Elias
Really
to
good
close
move.
to close that block. There was a gap there, and then there was none right at the last second. Well done by the young. How old is Elias?
Beautiful. Elias is 22, 1.93 m only. Looking pretty big out there.
Yeah.
Once again, 3-point run here for Puerto Rico. Wow, that is a lightning fast ball. Too fast for Herrera, and he sprays it out of bounds cross court, and we are tied. That is a setting mistake for sure.
Now let's see. This will be one of the first tests of this new Cuban coach is when do you sub out the libero, or the setter? When do you bring in Taboada? He's a little bit more experienced, and I mean, it wasn't even until this year that we really saw him start. Nicely handled there by Garcia. Herrera.
That's more like it.
Third time's a charm.
Yeah, that's better. Jesus Herrera with more time, more ability to see the block, and he hits the Langle. There is no defender in the world that can pick that ball up.
Yeah, block was way inside on that one.
Way inside, giving up too much of that space. I mean, Herrera's got pretty gnarly range from sideline to sideline, so you got to decide what you're going to take away. Here is Alonso. Ooh, I like that float serve down the line a lot. Puerto Rico way out of system. Hoyos is able to keep it in play. And slam dunk by Concepcion.
That's the vision that we talked about there with Concepcion, and Elias jumped into the cross, into the 5 angle, and Concepcion just waited, hung, dropped it down back into 1. As Alonso now continues to serve, we saw that last serve down the rail to 1. Beautiful. This one
now there's a hybrid.
6.
Wow, that was fast. Right off the chest of Lopez, it's kept alive. Conservative swing from Herrera. Ellis cross court. Thondike is underneath it. Here's Marlon Yant. Good point scoring chance, and he rips it away. Deep position 6 off of Lawrence and out of here. That's
a dig that Lawrence needs to make.
Agreed.
That's a dig that Lawrence needs to make. He's there. He's in a good position. He's just not quite ready for it.
Agreed.
It's right at him, and that's one that he as he continues to grow as a player, he's going to make that play happen.
Well, he's new to position 6 defense. He was in the right spot, though. Here's Alonso again. We've seen 2 very different serves. This one, the traditional floater on Hoyos. That is off the fingertips, definitely. Good high swing.
Beautiful.
By Jamal Ellis.
Great job there by Ellis to catch the hands. And that's it. If Puerto Rico can play smart volleyball and make smart decisions, and the thing is that they can't get into a battle where they're just both trying to swing away, because you're going to lose that against Cuba.
Right. That's absolutely right.
They can stay close here, though. They'll stay relevant.
Elias back to serve, very easily handled by Yant, and that ball finds the deep corner. No, that ball is called out of bounds. That is in on the sideline, long on the end line is the call there.
And I mean, they kind of Puerto Rico got away with one for sure there as Elias chipped in a muff.
That was probably the easiest serve anyone will see all week. Got to do something a little more aggressive from the baseline here.
Matt Ferbs, the assistant coach of the USA, laughing at you as
nice feed.
In agreement.
That was a pretty good play there from Thondike. One-handed up to Concepcion.
And now this is where Herrera can open up the game wide open right here.
Right here.
He can, if he pins a few, it's going to be game over.
And now this is the best camera angle possible to see the way that this serve can tail. But, wow, a float serve. I was not expecting that. Ooh, okay.
Gator. Now for Yant.
Out of bounds off the block, and he plays successful dodgeball to get his foot out of the way, and a break point for Cuba. What a dig by Yonder Garcia.
We got the chat asking for Gabi Garcia
Well,
Fernandez.
ladies and gentlemen, if you're not aware, Gabi Garcia Fernandez has renationalized to play for the United States. He will be eligible to play for the U.S. national team in March of 2024. So he is in the gym with the U.S. but cannot play until next year. He will not play for Puerto Rico again, but who can is perhaps his heir apparent, Jamal Ellis, the 19-year-old, with a kill through a double block that time.
Yeah, a real miscommunication there with Thondike going over the top of Concepcion. Yant was flying through the pipe, and Lopez just dumped that one over. But that was really what led there to the point of Puerto Rico.
Ellis to serve. Rodriguez, the undersized setter, up to the front court, and that ball is out of here. Touch them all, home run.
Nice movement on that ball, just movement out.
Everett, I have a reputation in the Chicago volleyball community, or when I played back at Purdue, to hit the back wall with my jump serve every so often. Even I can hit it more downwards than that last one.
That was a great pass there. Wow, Rodriguez.
That was
awesome. Love that.
That is such a good play by the undersized but front court setter.
You know what? He's like to me, he's new. Maybe he's been playing on like the Caribbean circuit and all these other random.
He's 29. It
events.
seems like he's been around, but I really don't remember seeing him much as the main setter for Puerto Rico. I love his hands so far. Here is Hoyos, the captain. Beautiful pass by Garcia. And straight over the top goes Lopez. Pretty good chase down, but this will be a Cuban free ball here. Repeat to Lopez. It goes through the arms of Figueroa and puts it away for a 3-point lead.
Rodriguez has spent the past few seasons with Savo Volley in the Finnish league.
Oh, in Finland. That's okay. That's a good team.
Prior to that, I'd been playing in Puerto Rico.
Oh,
there we go.
Again. 2 points in a row for the Puerto Rican setter.
I think Rodriguez is becoming one of my new favorite setters. He's like an even more spunky Matias Sanchez out there.
That's good, and that comparison is a very high compliment. Matias Sanchez of Argentina.
Yeah. Argentina, of course, just winning their first ever South American Continental Championship.
A lot of very
week.
significant Continental Championship news around the world. We talked about a lot of it on this morning's episode of the 9x9. You can check that out here on the YouTube channel. Easy hand pass there from Lopez.
Woohoo!
That's a little like what we're waiting to see. Confident hand pass and the give and go straight over the top of Rodriguez.
Like that's the shot down the line there that I don't care if it's Jania or anyone else. Like no one's making that dig.
You don't dig that ball.
No one's making that dig.
Keith in the chat asks, is Rodriguez actually 5'11" or is that generous? Everett, your thoughts?
That's very generous. Oh,
wow,
that's unlucky.
That was weird.
That was unlucky. It was the block off of Lopez. It popped up, and as Alonso's hands were coming back, it flung it back onto their side. But going back to the Kevin Rodriguez, he may be able to walk underneath without ducking. Unconfirmed, but it's pretty close as he takes a nice chop at it on that one.
Is that ball hit out of bounds by Alonso? Yes, no touch. And Cuba letting Puerto Rico hang around a little bit here. It's 11 serving 12.
And this is exactly what Puerto Rico wants. They want to hang around throughout the entirety of the set, and then if they're close at the end and they have that ability to steal one, that's exactly when it needs to happen.
That's right. Here's Rodriguez again. Rotation one receive for Cuba. Trying to take Lopez out of the offense. Good luck with that as that ball is destroyed cross court against a one-on-one.
You know what? Like this is a game that Clistan Lawrence needs to take notes from, because Lopez is a guy who did exactly what he wants to do.
Great point.
Establish yourself on the right, become a power on the left, but he's still comfortable on the right. Let's see if Lopez can pin this one.
Wow! Right on cue. That ball is absolutely torched by Miguel Lopez.
I wish we had a gun out here, because
a
speed gun.
Thank you.
Just to confirm.
Timeout Puerto Rico, by the way.
That's one I would love to know the speed of, because we're right behind it, and that was hit hard.
I heard that Namir Abdelaziz just set the serve speed record the other day. I think it was 137 kilometers an hour, which is insane. Took that from Wilfredo Leon. But if we had serve guns, especially in the Molten era, like you were saying.
Oh, the Molten era was something else.
But now with
like straight up, just like give me an old leather ball. You know, like the Molten leathers. Oh man. If they still play with the leathers on women's NCAA, and I kind of like that.
Yeah, it's that I don't like that volleyball very much at all. Nowhere near the caliber of this Mikasa. So timeout Puerto Rico, 11-14. Mission number one here: get Miguel Lopez off the service line.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Ooh, we're hearing from the chat that thanks. This is really good insight. We're reading your comments in the YouTube live chat, by the way, that Kevin Rodriguez primarily plays on the beach.
Really?
Yeah, that's surprising to me. We're going to go ahead and look that up.
BVB info, let's go.
Out of the timeout, here's Lopez again.
Another good one.
Chops that one on to Lawrence and forces an overpass. Great chance here for Cuba. Lopez out of the back row.
This is when Cuba starts to get dangerous.
Scary.
When they start to flow, and when it becomes effortless for them, that's when you get scared.
And a substitution in here for Puerto Rico. Axel Melendez, number 12 in blue. In it, outside hitter, replaces Lawrence, only 19 years of age, 2 meters and 3. Actually the tallest player on the Puerto Rican roster this week. A ton of youth. If you're Lopez right here, you go directly at the new guy. 15-11 Cuba. And he goes directly into the top of the tape. That is a break for Puerto Rico.
Looks like.
So we'll immediately get our look at Melendez from the service line. Let's see what he's got here. Okay,
good
nice
spot.
range. Herrera is forced into reception, but he actually puts it right on the money to his credit, and Alonso puts it away in the middle.
I think that one would have dropped out, but Herrera was right there and had to play it.
I like serving the stack in rotation 2 there. There's a lot of traffic in that kind of position 2 right front area, which is exactly where Puerto Rico is right now, by the way. Let's see where Alonso goes.
Oh, that was a little bit ugly. I'm surprised that Scott let that one play.
Allowed to be played on.
Ooh.
Herrera down the line, got the fingertips of the line blocker, according to the far sideline judge, yes.
Hoyos not saying anything on that one. So I guess he did touch, but I didn't see it touch.
Herrera definitely over-rotated it, but I could see it having been close enough to maybe have caught the fingers. Concepcion has officially tied his shoe. Congratulations to him, and now Alonso will serve again. Saw him rip that hybrid. Yeah, kind of like that. I like that serve, even despite that error.
Kind of reminds me of the good old Graham Viagrass hybrid.
I loved that serve.
I know you did.
One of the first hybrids. Now we've got people like Mateusz Biniak hitting them at 115 kilometers an hour.
Well, yeah, his hybrid is something else.
That's something special. Here is Elias, the middle blocker. Concepcion, the opposing middle blocker, passes it and nutmegs Rodriguez on the 31 bounce. That was sweet. Just too easy of a serve.
Yeah, just way too easy.
Ooh, looks like we got a little double substitution action here for Cuba. They don't normally do this.
Okay.
We're going to see Taboada, number 11, come to the backcourt to serve and set. And a brand new face, Jose Carlos Romero, number 16 in red. 24 years of age, 1.98 at opposite. I know nothing about this guy. Very curious to see if he gets involved in the offense.
Let's go, Ronnie. Hit us up in the chat with some information on this guy. Taboada with a decent serve there. I like that.
And that ball is stuffed straight down, I think. Yes, right on the sideline.
Once again, Ellis charging in, being too early and forced to hit a ball that's behind him. Maybe they're running it a little too fast for him. Who knows, but that's a few times we've really seen him just be way too fast on that right side. I've said it before. He's a big body. He swings well. Just be a little bit more patient.
Wait and go. Timeout Puerto Rico, their second, trailing 13-19 in the second set.
And we'll see how this double sub works out for Cuba.
Yeah, I'm curious. We've really never seen Cuba utilize the double substitution, hardly ever. And we're going to see it here. I mean, it's not like Thondike is a bad blocker. His size is good enough. We've seen him get a couple already in this match. Just Jesus Cruz Lopez wants to get a look at a couple different guys. And why not? You're a brand new head coach. Get some data on your team. Here is Taboada, who we kind of thought might supplant Goide as the starting setter for Cuba, but now still very much up in the air with that position. Nice dig from Lopez there. That ball did not come out of Taboada's hands very nicely, and the coverage not able to be made on the Cuban side. Pretty good disciplined block there from Puerto Rico. Ellis with that block now goes back to serve.
Like to see Ellis take a good chuck at this ball. Just go for it.
Why not? Rotation 1 receive here for Cuba, and they get out of it the easy way.
Now Yant's going to be heading back to serve for Cuba, and he can get hot back there. He can get hot back there for sure, as
He's done it at the very highest levels of the club game.
It's funny, just as we talked about Puerto Rico staying close with Cuba, that's really when Cuba opened things up here, and it's been a lot less competitive here in the second set for Puerto Rico. As it looks like we're going to see a substitution coming in. Diego Rosic.
Another outside hitter in for Omar Hoyos. Diego Rosic, number 24 in blue, 21 years of age, 1.93 meters, and he will serve.
Looks like we're waiting to, yep, there we go. Now we have it ready on the table. Cuba leads 20-15. Rosic, his first touch of the game, and that is going to be long.
Men's volleyball, 3 service errors in a row, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, 3 in a row.
All right, let's see if Concepcion.
Come on, Concepcion. Love this guy, by the way. We got some really good interviews with Concepcion because he speaks good English. He was in Ottawa for VNL.
Here we go. Love that.
Okay,
Rodriguez
does it again. The 3rd point in this set for the Puerto Rican setter. Love to see it.
If we had some fans here, he would be a fan favorite.
I'm optimistic about the attendance potential for the weekend. Let's put it that way.
The USA game tonight should have people.
As quick as it is, you better not be late.
Yeah, that one.
Taboada to Alonso in the middle off the block and out of bounds. Cuba's lead is 6.
If you're looking to do something just quick, you maybe head out, have a quick bite to eat, come out to the game and be home in bed at a good time, tonight's match would be a good one to come
Coming
watch.
up at 7:30 p.m. Eastern, the United States takes on Suriname. Here is Romero. So the double substitution is going to stay in here for Cuba. And Romero's, I believe, his first touch of the ball is a service error.
"24 years of age is Romero, but the first time we're really seeing him. They've also got Miguel Gutierrez, who played in Intrasterna this year.
And Jose Suarez. All those has pretty good options off the bench. Okay, there's Romero getting slowed down by the block on his first attack attempt, and a mistake there from Puerto Rican libero Albaladejo.
That was a little bit ugly on the Puerto Rico side, but immediately I noticed the pace of set to Romero a lot slower, a lot higher than what we're seeing usually go to Herrera. Here's Lopez. Oh my goodness, that
tail on that thing is insane. 3 blockers here against Ellis, and he is shut down. Good rotation 1 trap there engineered by Cuba. 3 blockers in front of the opposite on the left side, and now set point Lopez. How hard do you think he's going to hit this ball?
Oh, he's going to hit it as hard as he can. Might as well go for it.
I think he's going to chop it to position 2. Nope, he hit that ball as hard as he could.
He hit that.
And the net gets in the way, so 1 set point saved, but it is looking like Cuba will lead 2-0 here momentarily. Melendez, who came off the bench earlier for Clisten Lawrence, back to serve. He represents Puerto Rico's last hope here in the second set. Easy serve, and Alonso is tipped into the block. That coverage play is made. Rodriguez rescues it. Free ball chance here. Oh, look at that. The on-2 ball from Taboada to Yant, but he hits it out of bounds. Trying to play like Brazil, but even Brazil can't pull that play off with all that much effectiveness.
No, that was hey, we're up by a lot. Let's have some fun play.
Actually, a smart choice by Albaladejo, the Puerto Rican libero, to send that ball over and force Taboada to take the first ball. So Puerto Rico staying alive here. Perfect pass by Garcia. And that will do it. Marlon Yant with the hammer cross court, and Cuba takes the second set 25-19. They lead 2-0.
Yeah, much better job by Cuba in that second set, and it was really the service pressure put on by Lopez that really pushed them forward here. They really he got out there and put Puerto Rico in some bad positions, and if I'm Puerto Rico right now, I kind of want to leave Clisten Lawrence out there.
I agree.
I don't really understand the pulling him out. He's your guy, and he needs to be your guy too. So you need to go out there and let him kind of weather through the storm a little bit, especially against this Cuban team, right? This is the team that they're the most similar with, for sure, in terms of play style. Maybe not in terms of like competitiveness. and he needs to be able to play like that, and he needs to kind of stand in there. So it's going to be interesting to see if he starts this third set for Puerto Rico or not.
I think like if you're going to approach this tournament like it seems that Mexico and Puerto Rico are, like not necessarily bring your best guys, but bring a couple new bodies and try and get them some experience. If you're going to approach the tournament that way, you might as well be given long leashes. There is no reason not to give Clifton Lawrence the longest leash possible. If your priorities aren't necessarily in winning this tournament, and I think that's fair to say about both Mexico and Puerto Rico based on their roster choices. If that's not where your priorities are, fine. But in that case, give the future of your program as long of a leash as possible.
Absolutely. You know, he hasn't really been that effective. He only has 2 points so far, the one ace and the one swing down the line late in that first set. But still, you kind of want to see it. For just some updates on Cuba. Miguel Gutierrez not currently with the team. His daughter was sick back in Cuba, so he will join the team tomorrow. Also, Romero played last season with the same team as Facundo Conte in Argentina.
Oh.
I'm pretty sure it's UCPN.
That's a pretty nice teammate to have in club season.
Look, though, there we go. Appreciate you, Ronnie.
Also, you might notice Everett and I ignoring all the comments about our camera angle.
Well, until now.
This is the best way to watch volleyball. This will be the camera angle for this tournament, and you're welcome. This is the best way to watch volleyball. This is how it's going to be. I promise you, by the end of the tournament, you're going to get used to it, and you're going to love it. So stop asking us to change it. Not going to happen. Hey, there's Sam. It's Everett's girlfriend in the chat. Thanks, Sam.
Don't out us like that. She's giving us some support.
She is giving us support. That's because she knows what's good. She knows what a good camera angle is to watch this game.
As we getting ready here for the third set, Cuba looking to see if they can close this one out early.
I don't think we've shouted out yet, by the way, the absolute legend that is Ozzie Antonetti, the head coach of Puerto Rico, one of the great players of I'd say about the 90s-ish was when he was really in his prime.
I thought he was like when he was playing with did he play with Hector Soto?
I think he might have overlapped.
Yeah, so that was the
2000s.
That was that epic 2007 World Championship.
Yeah, shout-outs to Ozzie. He's coaching Puerto Rico now. Lawrence gets the start in the third set, and immediately commits a back row attack violation.
How good do you think his English is?
Who, Clifton Lawrence?
No, Ozzie.
Oh, Ozzie? It's got to be pretty good. I'd like to chat with him.
Let's bring him over after the game here.
This week is really making me wish my Spanish was just a little bit better. It's like okay, but it's probably not good enough to really do an interview. That is beautiful. Nice grab by Rodriguez, getting 2 hands on that ball. And Elias, who's been really impressive, puts it away in the middle. Also, I don't know if Elias is only 6'4". He looks a little bigger than that.
He definitely looks bigger. He looks bigger, and Rodriguez looks smaller.
Maybe he borrowed some of his roster height. Here's Hoyos, the captain, who also gets the start here in the third set for Puerto Rico, and another service error.
Despite being down 0-2, I am enjoying what I'm seeing from Puerto Rico so far.
Here is Alonso. I really like that flat float serve a lot. Handled beautifully by Albaladejo, but the coverage play can't quite be made. Concepcion is all over it.
Is there a player in this tournament, like maybe TJ DeFalco, who has as much swagger as Concepcion? Like when he comes down from that block, just watch him just like take the swagger away.
I really like, we say it all the time that there's nothing that beats watching high-level volleyball in person. But I really like being here, being able to just watch a guy, watch one guy, pick him, watch him in between points and see all his mannerisms. Really fun. Kill for Herrera there through the block of Lawrence one-on-one.
Thondike's deception is really good. Like he can set that ball really fast, and his ability to get one-on-ones is great. But now you're seeing that conversation with Herrera and Thondike because it's clearly not where he wants it to be. The fact if Lawrence was a better blocker on that one, it should have been a block. Yeah, exactly.
Here is Lawrence. Good high contact there. I thought he got a touch, and he did.
And it actually landed in on that back end. But so far, we haven't really seen him hit aggressively cross court, aggressively challenge the block, do anything really on that left side yet. And that's what I really want to see from him. As Elias heads back to serve. Going right at Yant on that one. And no one home. What a dig by Hoyos.
Nice dig by Hoyos. Lawrence off the block of Concepcion. That ball is called out of bounds.
That was the lines person over here originally called it in, and then she changed her mind.
Yeah, I mean, there's no challenges. She was confident about the call. Cuba complained about it briefly, but that is Puerto Rico's point. Kill for Lawrence off the block and out of bounds. Concepcion really thought he got a piece of the sideline there.
Nice high toss for Elias there, but a little bit of just a slow swing there.
And here goes Herrera. We saw him float serve in the last set, which was surprising. He's one of the most dangerous servers in the world. He can really pull that ball with a whole lot of side spin. Let's see this. Yeah, there it is right on cue. Pretty well handled by Hoyos. Ellis in the Langle position off of Lopez and out of bounds. I say Langle, that I'm meaning like a blend of line and angle that goes outside the blocker, so hitting the line in that aspect, but way inside the sideline, so hitting the angle in that aspect.
I like to call it the back door.
The back door, I like that too.
Goes in. Pause.
There is Yance against an absolute mismatch against Rodriguez. Lights up Albaladejo cross court for the kill.
Albaladejo was right there in a good spot, but just needed to be a couple inches over to let that go off his shoulder.
Here is Marlon Yant. Guys like Marlon Yant make this game look pretty easy sometimes.
Yes, absolutely. Not in that one.
Not that one.
Not in that one, but sometimes when he gets into that zone, sometimes he can be absolutely unstoppable. And maybe let's see if the best times in that first set for Puerto Rico is when Clifton Lawrence was at the baseline. Let's see if he can recreate some of that magic.
Good service pressure there. This is tricky. Lopez sends it over.
Oh,
look at that jump set from Rodriguez.
He gets up there.
Gets it recycled. Ellis through the block. Not great connection. Now Lopez with a chance to end it, and he does down the line off of Ellis and out of bounds. That's a shame. Puerto Rico had a chance to put a highlight reel together from that play alone.
Ellis a little upset that they didn't go for that one. It really wasn't in Rodriguez's wheelhouse, but once again we see him early on that ball and just tipping it over on his way down. So just slow down, young fella. You got this.
That is a gigantic three-man block. Alonso is all over that. Nothing Hoyos can do. You
can tell that Hoyos just saw his life flash in front of his eyes as he was going up for that one. There was no daylight at all.
It's a good pass there by Lawrence. Ellis out of the back row. That's the one.
Yeah.
Right on cue, Everett. That is a gorgeous, gorgeous approach, gorgeous swing from slow to fast, accelerating behind that ball.
When he's behind that ball and he can see it, he has good vision. He has a fast swing on that one. Like, it looks good.
That was an international rip right there. No question about it.
Absolutely pinned it down the line.
Easy hand pass there from Lopez. And out of the back row comes Marlon Yant, flying, keeping his feet behind the attack line.
I still don't know that Figueroa is quite aware of what happened there. That came at him quick.
You put a 17-year-old middle blocker into serve and then try to ask him to play defense against Marlon Yant. Good luck. Here is Thondike from the service line. Lawrence out of the back row, looking for the position one corner and missed it out of bounds.
His short right now is really short. His swing right now is really short.
Yeah, he's not really extending very well.
He's not extending at all. He's not going to meet the ball. And that's why we're seeing he's hitting it so low, and it's giving a nice tail to the ball, but it's tailing just wide.
Here is Thondike again. Good service pressure. This is not really a hittable chance. Elias will try to win a joust, and he gets it back for Puerto Rico.
Oh, good shot there.
Pretty good dig by Yant. Lopez off the blocker, Rodriguez, and out of bounds, utilizing the mismatch.
Cuba really salvaged that well.
They did.
And that's I think an area that I'd really like to see Lopez get better at, is his out-of-system hitting, right? And that was something that he did so well on the right, is that they could just chuck up a ball for him and he could get the job done, as we're seeing a substitution just straight up for the setters here on Puerto Rico.
Backup setter Sebastian Hike, 1'85", 20 years of age, so slightly taller at about 6'1" in the front court right now. We'll see if Rodriguez comes back in a little bit later on. For now, we got a new setter running the show. And he delivers a beautifully quick ball to the outside, which is torched cross court. Wow, cross court by Hoyos.
I love Puerto Rico has always ran a fast offense, and I love it when it's effective. Just beautiful to watch. Like, that thing was like, what, the third red on the antenna?
Real quick. Oh, but Hike, the new setter, the left-hander, puts a float serve into the top of the tape. Everett, what's my favorite thing?
Oh, Rob loves miss float serves.
I really like it when people miss float serves.
Like,
it's
to
really
the point that I
really
hate
why
watching volleyball
game.
with him when there's miss float serves, because he gets incessantly
just
annoying.
Don't miss them. Lawrence stabs at that one off the tape. Hoyos with a tricky shot and overthinks it a bit, comes up short. And Cuba's lead is 6 at 13-7. We're going to have another Puerto Rican substitution. Axel Melendez comes back in at outside hitter for Hoyos. Rotation 1 receive here for Puerto Rico. And they have to deal with Miguel Lopez's service pressure. Wow.
Oh my goodness.
Right on cue, a rocket of an ace from Miguel Lopez, and Cuba is doubling up Puerto Rico. Time out at 14-7.
I mean, that one's a tough one.
There's nothing you can do.
There's nothing you can do. I mean, in some way, I maybe you can try to get a fourth passer in there, make everyone just take a little bit of a smaller sliver.
I mean, right below, sitting right in front of us right now are Micah Christensen and Eric Shoji. And Eric Shoji, according to his coach, John Sparrow, is the best serve receiver in the world. I kind of want to ask him if he thinks he can pass that ball.
I mean, it's Eric Shoji.
It's Eric Shoji.
So can he do it like perfectly? Who knows?
I mean, some serves are just too good. There's some serves that there's nothing you can do about them.
Let's see if Lopez can continue this run here from the baseline. Chops at that one, and that one is down. Right in front of Melendez.
Yet another ace for Lopez. How many is that now?
For Lopez, that's 3.
It might
be 4.
No,
that's 4. The stat sheet just, I forget that we're not watching it from home, so that the stat sheet is always updated. Oh, that one was far out of bounds. Not
Good
as bad,
run, though.
Not as bad as that epic Bartosz Kurek clip, where I'm sure he destroys the back wall when he playing for Skra. But that was big. But yeah, I'm used to having the stats already up after I see the play.
Yeah, it's nice being here in person. Good chop serve there by Melendez. Very tough chance for Yant, and he gets away with it.
He was doing one thing and one thing only. As soon as that ball was set, he was two-stepping in there like it was a layup and just trying to ping that one off the block.
Completely sideways. And he got away with it, plus a Puerto Rican net violation. So Alonso back to serve. It is 16-8. This is looking like a sweep, if I had to call it right now. Still got Hike, the new setter, in there.
Once again, he stayed patient, and he was able to keep that ball in front of him, and he was able to be effective. So, you can tell his youth. His youth is very apparent by watching him play, but there's a lot of potential. There. He's got a really active arm. He hits the ball harder than I expected it.
Speaking of a lot of potential, substitution for Cuba, number 3 in red, Alexis Wilson, 19 years of age, 2 meters and 8, in the middle for Concepcion. So this is a chance for Cuba to work in a very young prospect. Alexis Wilson, who I know absolutely nothing about, by the way. I know we've got Ronnie Cuban Spike in the chat. If you can give us any background on this kid.
Oh, we've got some Polish in the chat now.
Ooh.
All right.
My reading in Spanish is okay. I can understand what people are typing in Spanish. I cannot understand what people are typing in Polish, even though I can try my best and pronounce it. This is a good week for pronunciations, at least for me. Like, it's really just
Spanish,
English, Spanish, and
I wish there was more French teams out there.
Maybe a Quebecois guy in Nick Hogan. That's it.
But even then, like, his name in French is it's almost it's Oak.
Oh yeah.
Right. Whereas in English, Hoke, like you actually, whereas in French you just don't really pronounce the H. It's just Oak.
Sure. I don't really pronounce the H in Spanish either. Here is Elias out of the timeout. Or not really a timeout, more of a substitution delay. That is rescued, but will be a free ball for Puerto Rico.
Whoa,
oh, no.
My goodness.
Oh, no. That is not a good miscommunication. Now Cuba gets a free ball. Yeah, rips across court. Great recovery. Elias with a dig, but a bad bump set. Another free ball. Wow. Marlon Yant against a one-on-one. Good luck. 17-9.
A little bit of frustration there from Elias. It looks like he was calling that ball, not happy that Lawrence was standing beside him, and immediately turned away from the play. And now we're seeing him and Hoyos have a discussion on the bench as Herrera puts that ball in. Nicely handled.
Wow, what a pass.
Dime.
And
oh, there we go. No, that was out. I'm agreeing with the lines person.
So is Lopez. Lopez called that ball out in the back row. Yant really wanted a block there. That's a miracle that Ellis was able to put enough wrist away spin on that for it to go out of bounds wide. I thought that was a stuff block for sure.
10 points now for Ellis here in this match. First Puerto Rican player to reach double digits. Let's see if he can add to that from the baseline.
That ball is well out of bounds. Maybe not decisive enough on spin or float.
Yeah, now back to serve. Only 7 points away here is Cuba from taking this match.
Wow. It doesn't get much luckier than that. We did see Puerto Rico get one of those earlier. I think it was in the first set. So
yeah, absolutely.
I suppose karma has balanced out.
Yeah, it has, but the movement on that ball was extreme.
We have a question in the chat that is, what do our commentators think about France losing to Romania 3-1? Well, we actually talked about that this morning
on the 9x9.
On the 9x9, our podcast where we cover international volleyball. We are catching up on all the other international tournaments around the world. Women's Eurovolley, the South American men, the NORCECA women, Eurovolley men. We talked about all that this morning, so go back and check that episode out after this match is over.
But in short summary,
embarrassing.
It was embarrassing, and we'd like to know where France went the night before. What kind of party they had.
That is the question indeed. The question here is how quickly perhaps can Cuba finish this out? And then the question after that becomes, what will be the quickest match of the day? Because Canada made short work of the Dominican Republic earlier. This will be a pretty convincing 3-0 from Cuba if it stands as it is right now. That is a good swing, though, by Lawrence off the block and out of bounds.
I was about to say it might depend on how hungry Yant is. If he's really hungry, you might want to get it done with, but I guess he wasn't that hungry.
Let's go get some food.
He didn't put it away.
All right, this is hero time. Oh, you know what I just noticed? Clifton Lawrence is wearing his Milano socks. The front of his socks have the Milano logo on them.
You're right there.
That's pretty awesome. Not the best toss of all time. So
no.
It is 2011 in favor of Cuba. First serve for Alexis Wilson, who Ronnie in the chat says switched to volleyball from track and field just 3 years ago and is going to the Chinese League this year. At 19, honestly, not a bad place to go.
No.
He'll get paid a decent amount, that's for sure. We see Rosic, the backup outside hitter. Diego Rosic, number 24 in blue, in for Puerto Rico once again. Oh, no. Shank float serve pass by Albaladejo. Service ace for Alexis Wilson on the float serve. (21-11) for Cuba. Ooh, that is not a good piece of service effort at all. Juan Figueroa, number 21 in blue, 17 years of age. Amazing to already be playing at the senior level at age 17. Puts in that serve there. That block is not quite in time. Kill for Alonso. That is through the block and down on the Puerto Rican side. (22-12). Just a formality at this point, so it would seem. Thundyke back to serve. Ace serve, okay. Some nice movement on that ball.
He's a lefty, too.
He is. He certainly is. And now it seems that both teams just kind of want to get out of here at this point. That's the body language I'm reading on both sidelines. Thundyke again. Beautiful pass that time from Rosic. And new setter, Sebastian Hike, is left-handed. But the net gets in the way of that second contact swing, and we have match point, 12 of them. 12 match points for Cuba, ready to start their NORCECA championship with a sweep. Here is Thundyke. Pretty good pressure.
Nice push.
Pushed all the way to the outside, and Melendez gets a kill inside three blockers. Something for Puerto Rico to build on, perhaps, throughout the rest of this tournament there. Still plenty more chances for Cuba to finish this thing out. 13 serving 24. Rotation 1 receive. Where does Thundyke want to go here for the win? He goes nowhere. A lucky tape trickler ace. Very fortunate for Sebastian Hike. And I think Puerto Rico leads the tape trickler ace stat column 2-1, if I'm not mistaken.
Everyone loves a dribbler. Gets the people going.
I think only one half of the people love a dribbler. Ooh, misconnection there. That was odd. Swing for Melendez to keep the match going. Slowed down by Alonso. Now this has to be it. Miguel Lopez for the win. Nope. Out of bounds. You no touch.
No comments the next point about this is it.
Oh, man.
I think that play right there, I really want to highlight Romy Alonso's blocking. Yep. It was fantastic.
Excellent.
He takes away so much space. He's leading the game with 5 blocks as well, which is quite good, especially in a quick one like this. And there we go. Herrera's going to finish it off.
It is. Jesus Herrera on the left side, puts it away off the block and out of bounds. And Cuba has made relatively quick work of Puerto Rico. Was very competitive through about a set and a half. And then Cuba really turned it on, never looked back. 25-21, 25-19, 25-15 is the final score. Cuba starts the NORCECA championship with a victory. Both these teams will be back in action tomorrow. And that leaves us with just one more match for the day coming up in about an hour and 15 minutes. The United States, the hosts, number 2 ranked team in the world, will take on Suriname.
Do we want to do an interview after this one, or?
On the broadcast, maybe not. I need to get a little more familiar with who on Cuba speaks English and is willing to come over and chat with us. But we'll go talk to some people in the mix zone, get those up on the YouTube channel. Congratulations to Cuba. I thought that was a pretty convincing performance. Everett, some closing thoughts before we get out of here and get ready for the United States.
I mean, Cuba did what Cuba does, and they were athletic and physical. Overall, pretty impressed by this young Puerto Rican team. I'm excited to see how they grow and progress throughout the tournament.
That's a pretty good summary right there. Thanks for watching, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be back once again on the Volleyball Source YouTube channel at 7:30 Eastern Time for the United States taking on Suriname. We will see you then. Thanks for watching.